Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news at 7 on OSRC television. I am Oyumi Ayinibara. The people of Iloluji Okigbo local government area of Ondo State benefited from the food palliative distribution initiated by the federal and state government. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, during the flag-off of the food palliatives at the council area, said the initiative part of the government's ongoing efforts to alleviate the impact of the economic downturn of the populace. Joy Pius now completes the story.
I attributed represent of education was states. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
The candidate of the Zenith Labour Party in the November 16 governorship election, Alhaji Abbas Mimiko, has promised to remodel the state's infrastructure for development. In a chat with OSRC, Mimiko said his ambition is driven by the urge to contribute meaningfully to the overall progress of the state through the instrument of government. If elected, it would alleviate what he termed the sufferings of the people of the state and ensure that his appointments are tailored towards solving specific identified societal problems. The ZLP governorship candidate called on the people of the state to shun politicians who he said would reach out to them to sell their vote during the election, while also campaigning against electoral violence and other forms of malpractice.
My driving force is the people. We got to get them poverty. We got to carry more water supply for every citizen, carry now rapid and aggressive industrialization, wealth and true productivity, carry robust access to education for all citizens and vocational training. Can road community healthcare for all citizens, Kala Lafia, peace and security for citizens.
ZLP candidates Abbas Minko speaking there. The federal civil servants have until the end of this month to verify their identities on the portal of the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System (IPPIS) amidst the planned stoppage of salaries and sanctions for ghost workers. Part of the requirements for verification is attained alongside the IPPIS number and salary account number. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu had directed that all civil servants who are drawing salaries from the government after relocating abroad should be made to refund the money. Some civil servants are already struggling to meet the deadline for verification. Following the President's directive, the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation had unveiled a portal for the civil servant verification. The federal government is set to collect over 425 billion naira from 7 banks as a one-time windfall tax on their foreign currency revaluation gains for the 2023 financial year. The annual report of the financial institutions filed with the Nigerian Limited showed that the 7 banks recorded about 851 billion naira in foreign currency gains at the end of the year review. The House of Representatives has reiterated its commitments towards healthcare reform to ensure it meets the diverse needs of Nigerians and enhances pandemics. Chairman of the Media gave their assembly collaboration of state of the executive and physical needs position to a coordinated presentation of a communique outline action health body civil. You're still watching Osrc News at 7. After the break, Nigerian Labour Congress makes case for 50% lump sum payment of retirement benefits. Please, do rejoin us. Thank you very much for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV Ondo. In the relentless pursuit of saving lives, Adeyemi Adeyenka, a dedicated health educator committed to enlightening Ondo State residents on preventing Lassa fever outbreak, undeterred by the hazard of the night, Adeyenka courageously navigates the streets to spread awareness through unconventional evangelism. Saeed Aribisala reports that Ondo State faces significant challenges with Lassa fever, a disease typically transmitted through contact with rodent urine or feces.
Armed with a public address system, Adeyemi Adeyenka walks through the night's shadows, driven by a mission to save lives. As a health educator, our primary concern is curtailing the spread of Lassa fever in Ondo State. Even after regular duties, Adeyenka ventures into the streets of Orita Obele around 8 p.m. A clarion call for better hygiene practices resonate through walls and windows, reaching residents with urgency. In 2024, data from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control reveals that Lassa fever has affected 28 states across 125 local government areas. 65% of all confirmed cases stem from Ondo, Edo, and Bauchi states. Specifically, Ondo reported 26%, Edo 22%, and Bauchi 17% of these cases.
I just like to work as a direct educator to enlighten people, because it's like work of God. Because when people are the enlighten people on doing bad, then we change. It's good to enlighten people. It's like evangelist work. I just like it.
Within the first 6 months of the year, no fewer than 162 deaths have been recorded.
Ìdí tí mo fi ń ṣe lálẹ́ ni pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti kàn lọ bí iṣẹ́ láàárọ̀ torí òṣìṣẹ́ ìjọba ni mí. Èmi náà máa kọ́kọ́ lọ bí iṣẹ́ kí n tó wá sí fídì. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ náà bíi tèmi náà wọ́n ti lọ bí iṣẹ́, wọn ò sí àráǹdì, wọn ò lè gbọ́. Bọ̀ tí bí mo ṣe wá lálẹ́ yìí, mo rí gbogbo wọn wà nínú ilé wọn báyìí. Oníkálukú wọn gbọ́, àwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń jáde, wọ́n ń wò mí. Ìgbà tí mo yà síbi tí mo ti lẹ kàlẹ́ndà ń bẹ̀ yẹn, oníkálukú wọn ló ní àwọn rí mi o, wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé kíní gbogbo wọn rọ́ jáde, àtọmọdé àtàgbà, wọ́n wá wo ẹni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ lálẹ́. Ìgbà tí wọ́n lẹ̀ lísìn, wọ́n gbọ́. But ẹni tó bá ti lọ síbi iṣẹ́ kò lè gbọ́. Àwọn èèyàn wa wọ́n máa hópù oúnjẹ wọn sílẹ̀, ẹlòmíì ò mọ̀ pé kò dáa. Inú oúnjẹ tí wọ́n hópù yẹn, inú ẹ̀ lẹ́kú ló ti máa ń ṣeré. Àwọn eku yẹn ọlọ́mú púpọ̀ ni, wọ́n á tọ̀ sínú oúnjẹ yẹn, wọ́n á yàgbẹ́ sínú ẹ̀, ẹlòmíì ò mọ̀ pé ò dáa.
According to the World Health Organization, Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic illness lasting 2 to 21 days, primarily occurring in West Africa. The virus spreads to humans through contact with food or household items contaminated by rodent urine or feces. Adeyinka Adeyemi hopes that a clarion call will be met with positive actions by residents towards reducing the spate of Lassa fever in Ondo State. Sahid Aribisala, OSRC News.
The federal government, through the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, is expecting fresh reports to confirm the real sulfur content of diesel produced by Dangote Refinery as the company debunked claims of inferior fuel production. The NMDPRA spokesman Jude Eneita said the agency had done its job and would not engage in a media fight with anybody over the claims that Dangote's diesel has more sulfur content than imported ones. According to Eneita, the authority has about 15 engineers and scientists embedded in the Dangote Refinery whose fresh report about the refinery's sulfur content will be out today. Meanwhile, the president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has made an offer to sell the Dangote Refinery to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited. The man expresses willingness to sell the refinery to address allegations of monopoly in the industry. He stated that if NNPCL takes over the refinery, the allegations of monopoly would no longer be valid. He described the allegations of being monopolistic as incorrect and unfair. The business mogul added that the refinery is aimed at reducing Nigeria's reliance on foreign fuel imports and conserve foreign exchange. The Lagos State Police Command has reiterated that it is illegal for vehicle owners and drivers to cover their number plates. The command spokesman, Benjamin Uday, said the act violates the National Road Traffic Regulations as it is against its provisions. He stated that each identification number plate must be reflective and legible both day and night. Similarly, the Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi stated that just as it is compulsory for all vehicles to be duly registered, it is also compulsory to make the registration numbers visible at all times. He, however, said there are exceptions for penance officers and heads of the three arms of government who use pendants or flags of the official cars. No fewer than 119 passengers have escaped death after a Max airline aircraft lost some tires while attempting to take off from the Yola airport in Adamawa State. During the takeoff roll, a loud bang was heard, identified as the busting of the rear gear's tires. Reports say 2 tires initially burst while attempting to take off, while the remaining 2 other tires also burst, rendering the aircraft completely disabled. No injuries was however recorded. An investigation team is expected to visit the scene site to conduct an investigation. And now to the foreign scene. U.S. President Joe Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race against Donald Trump. He's endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to take his place, so have over 100 congressional Democrats shown Aditola Hasmo.
After days of isolation, recovering from COVID and deliberation, consulting with his family and a handful of friends, U.S. President Joe Biden made his historic announcement on X. He will no longer seek the Democratic nomination for president.
I was so deeply moved by the president's powerful and poignant statement, which was truly courageous and visionary. President Biden has been one of the greatest, most courageous, and consequential presidents of American history.
The calls for Biden to drop his bid for a second term exploded last month after what many critics described as a disastrous debate performance against former U.S. President Donald Trump. Stepping down, Biden immediately endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democratic nominee. Harris responded saying she's honored to have the president's endorsement and that her intention is to earn and win the nomination.
Kamala Harris is the easiest pick based on the fact that she's vice president, and I think it would be tough for the party to try to go a different direction than that.
His performance has been a debacle. I think that it made the public very nervous.
Convention is just a month away. Biden has secured the most delegates to win the party's nomination. With Biden gone, those delegates don't automatically pass to Harris. It's now what is known as open convention, with delegates free to support the candidate of their choice. Harris already have 2 powerful endorsements: former U.S. President Bill Clinton and former First Lady and the first female nominee for president, Hillary Clinton. Seun Aditola, Osrc News.
And Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has reacted to the news of Biden dropping out of the race. Crook Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve, he wrote on Truth Social. Trump said all those around him, including his doctor and the media, knew that he wasn't capable of being president, repeating his claims that Biden's presidency enabled millions of people to cross the border into the U.S. unchecked. Trump added that the country will suffer greatly because of Biden's presidency, but that he will remedy the damage and make America great again. Republicans have been quick to attack Kamala Harris. The Trump campaign released a video disparaging our political record. Trump says the vice president will be easier to beat than Biden.
Morning, it was a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump was going to win this election in November. And this causes a bit of a reset on that. I was up in Milwaukee for the Republican convention last week. It's the 5th one I've been to, and I don't know if I've ever left a convention where people were more optimistic about their chances of winning. I think that wasn't just the Republicans in Milwaukee. I think it was political handicappers around the world. And now we have to look at the new dynamics. This is no longer President Trump versus President Biden. He has a new opponent, and it certainly appears that's going to be Vice President Harris. The vice presidential pick, that could have an awful lot to do with the calculus of the campaign, because we'll have to see from what state does that vice presidential candidate come. A lot of the names that we're hearing now are from battleground states. Mark Kelly from Arizona, Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, Rory Cooper from North Carolina. Those are all states that are going to determine the outcome of the election. It's a very big issue that Vice President Harris is going to have to speak to, and that is, how long has the president been incapable of doing his job? And if he's incapable of being on the campaign trail, can he remain as commander in chief? I think it's a very fair question to be asked. And again, I think it's something that will dog the vice president through this campaign. The country saw President Biden go out for a debate when his campaign ended 3 Thursdays ago, and were stunned by what they saw. Vice President Harris is in regular contact with the president. When did she see this diminished capacity? It's going to be a stone in her shoe through the entire campaign.
Still on the foreign scene, at least 39 Palestinians have been killed and dozens of others injured following the launch of a new Israeli assault on eastern Khan Yunis. The Israeli air attacks and artillery shelling come minutes after the military said the evacuation. The Palestinian civil defense in Gaza says affect more than 400,000 people. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is traveling to the United States, says Israel will dispatch negotiators to restart stalled captive exchange talks on Thursday. It did not specify the delegation's destination. No fewer than 39,900 people have been killed and over 89,000 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza. The death toll in Israel from Hamas-led attacks on October 7 is estimated at 1,139, with dozens of people still held captive in Gaza. And with that, we come to the end of the news, but before we go, a quick look at the top stories. We told you that the people of Iloluji, Okigbo local government area of the state have benefited from the food palliative distribution initiated by the federal and state government. We also brought to you that federal civil servants have until the end of this month to verify the identities on the portal of the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, IPPIS, amidst the planned stoppage of salaries and sanctions for ghost workers. And from the foreign scene, at least 39 Palestinians have been killed and dozens of others injured following the launch of a new Israeli assault on eastern Khan Yunis. That's the news tonight. Many thanks for watching. Good evening.